Good morning, people of YouTube. So we are back again today, having just competed in the North American National Finals. So I finished day one with a record of X3, so I was just short of making it to day two. And we had a great time playing today. So I had my trusty Agubond deck here with some spice, with some twists. If you've seen the thumbnail, if you've seen the title, you probably know what's coming. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and go through the deck that I used at the North American National Finals, and yeah, go into my card choices and what overperformed, what underperformed, stuff like that. I will have you know that my two losses of the day were twice to Agubond and only once against the mirror match. And the entire day, I only played Agubond, and Jesmon. I was expecting more Diaboromon and Security Control, and I didn't play those decks a single time. So it was definitely a hard day. None of my games were easy. All of the players that I played against definitely deserved to be competing at nationals, and yeah. No, they all put up a hard fight, so shout out to all of my opponents. They're all super cool as well. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the card choices. So for my eggs, I got 3 copies of Upa and 2 copies of the BT2 Demi Veemon. You'll see a lot of people play 4 copies of Upamon and 1 copy of the starter deck Demi Veemon that just came out. That's if you have 8 cards in hand, you get plus 1,000. This card is good in the early game, and that Demi Veemon is not. This card combos with Veedrabond also particularly well, and this card is non-conditional. Sure, with the starter deck Demi Veemon, you do have the potential of getting a 7,000 power Kendo Garurumon, and that's always really good. But I value this a lot more for its consistency. And Upamon is generally the most consistent egg in the list, so that's why we are playing 3 of it and 2 of this. But this card is very valuable, and it does trigger off of more than just the Agubond, so we are playing 2 of this rather than 1. And honestly, I wouldn't change this lineup. Both of these eggs overperformed all day, and they were just fantastic. So, on to the rookie count. We got 4 copies of BT6 Gabu, 4 copies of EX1 Gabu, 4 copies of BT1 Gabu, 2 copies of the promo Gabu, 1 Strabi, and 2 Madoki Beta. So my biggest regret for the entire tournament was that I didn't play 2 Strabimon. Before the event, I cut 1 for a copy of Absolute Blast in favor of the Security Control matchup, and I didn't play Security Control all day, so that ended up being a mistake for me. However, this card, in theory, is really good against Sakuyamon, so you still want to consider playing Absolute Blast if you're scared of playing Security Control, but that did not happen for me today. So Strabi would have been better, and there was a match that I lost because I had a bunch of bonds in hand, but I couldn't draw into a mat, and Strabi would have helped with that. But this is overall the rookie lineup. All of them performed very well. Madoki Beta overperformed all day. This card was absolutely insane. Part of the reason is just because I played against so many mirror matches. But, you know, this is the most popular deck in the format. So Madoki Beta is just a really good card to include in your list. All of the Gabus that I'm playing 4 of are the more important ones. Yeah, this promo Gabu is good. But this EX1 Gabu is much more consistent, especially since we're playing a fair number of level 4s in the list. But all in all these cards were amazing. And yeah, the only change I'm going to make to this list going forward is cutting the Absolute Blast to put the second Strabi back in. But yeah, no, I think 14 Gabumons is the bare minimum. I see a lot of lists playing less, and I don't understand that, because every time I tested less Gabumon, I just couldn't go into Bond when I needed to. So, playing 14 basically ensures that you always can promote your egg when you need to, and you will always have a Gabumon in play for your sick Bond plays. So, going on to the level 4s, this is where the spice comes in. We got 4 copies of Lobo, 3 copies of Kendo. These are standard. You know, these are the level 4s that you're going to see in every list, and they overperformed all day. You know, they're the hybrid package that will win you games. And Kendo Sendo is the name of the game in the mirror match and against Agubond. Because there were several times that they swung in with like Skullgray, and Skullgray would delete itself and then play an Agumon with like some weird inheritable skill. And then you just go into this guy, swing security, send the Agu back, and then you get to apply pressure while controlling their board. And Kendo Garurumon is just absolutely insane. You also clear multiple bodies in the mirror match. Just love these cards. And then Lobo for game is how you're going to win most of the time. But the absolute best overperformer of the entire deck, of the entire day, was the 2 copies of Veedrabond. Now, this card is the reason I kept winning the mirror match. Yeah, they had a level 4 that they'd swing in, they'd have the EX1 Gabu under it, they'd swing in, they'd get a check, and then they'd run the risk of being swung over. This card, I'd put the Demi Vmon under it and like the EX1 Gabu, and then I'd swing over their level 4. I'd get to search, I'd unsuspend, and then I'd get to leave this card unsuspended so they couldn't swing over it. Or what I could do is if I was put to 3 off of Davis, I could evolve into this card with the Gabu I promoted, and then go to 0, get my double swing off with this, and then put them to 1 by Ice Walling. And then they have to choose whether they want to deal with this and then immediately pass to my turn, or if they just want to let me have this card for next turn to get more double swings off. This card put on so much pressure in so many matchups. Like, Jesmon as well. Like, I did that play where I put them to 1 off of an Ice Wall after swinging twice with this. They had a Savior in the Raising. So what they could have done is they could have promoted the Savior and swung over this, and then passed to me, and then risked their Savior getting bonded away to the bottom of their deck. Or, they could promote Savior, or they could keep Savior back, evolve into Jesmon, and then let me swing twice with this again on my following turn. And Veedrabond just put in work all day. If you are not playing Veedrabond in your blue Gabumon list, please try it out, because this card, in my opinion, is so much better than Ikakumon. People like Octomon. I like Octomon as well, but Veedrabond has the potential to be a 7,000 power level 4 that swings twice. So that's absolutely insane. I can't speak enough praise on this card. This card overperformed all day and was the only reason I beat Jesmon and the mirror match so many times. Going on with the rest of the list, we have 4 copies of Bond. It's obligatory, you know, it's a Bond deck. You play 4 copies of that. Most of the games I wouldn't even win by going into Bond. Most of the games I'd just clear out with hybrids, a bunch of rookies just swinging in, and then Veedrabond applying a lot of pressure. But having Bond in hand and knowing that I could do it, there was a lot of times that, you know, with Veedra and Bond, you just put in 5 checks in a turn, and then your opponent just loses, and that's kind of crazy. So, absolutely love Bond. It's the name of the deck for a reason, but because Veedrabond put in so much work, the name of this deck is now Veedrabond. So, going forward with the Tamers, we got 4 copies of Matashita, because it's a Bond deck. Provides a lot of memory. You can have 2 of these in play, and then if your opponent sets you to 1, then you promote your Gabu, go up 2, go to 3, you draw 2 more cards, and then you evolve your Gabu into Veedra, and then you get to swing twice, and that's always fun. And then your mats can evolve into hybrids later on. We got 3 copies of Davis, because 3 is the correct number. I see some lists playing 2, and in my opinion, that's not correct. And then I play a copy of Sora and Joe. Sora and Joe overperformed every time I saw it. I don't think it's worth playing more than 1, but this is one of those cards that will make your Howling Memory boost more live. If you have you know, this and Matt in play, you're gaining memory every turn at the start of your turn. If you have this and Davis in play, you have the potential to go up to 5. You know, there were times that I had 2 Matt, a Davis, and a Sora Joe, and I was just going up to like 7 every turn, and that was insane. So the Tamer lineup especially is kind of what helps you win the game, and especially since you're playing so many hybrids, these all function as a rookie as well. So I did like my Tamer count, and I wouldn't change anything about it. On to the options, and this is the change I would make, because as I said, I didn't get to play this card that much today. The best thing I did with this was I used this card to send a Kendo Garurumon on the bottom of the deck. This Absolute Blast would definitely become a Strabi, and that would make me play 18 rookies. And there were also a bunch of games that I just opened today, and I just did not open a rookie. So maybe the 18th rookie would have helped in some of those situations, but the Absolute Blast is getting cut for the second Strabi after its performance today. But for the rest of the options, they all overperformed. We got 4 copies of Hammer Spark, we got 4 copies of Ice Wall, and we got 3 copies of Howling Memory Boost. I would not go down in number on any of these cards. Well, I mean, Ice Wall, I guess I'm going to have to whenever the ban list hits, but for this tournament, 4 Ice Wall was insane. There were so many times that, like, it came down in the Blue Mirror match who was managing their Ice Walls better. And whoever managed Ice Wall better was basically going to win that match. And I can speak for certain, the match that I did lose the mirror match to, my opponent played Ice Wall expertly. Like, he did so well. And yeah, no, this lineup just worked. Howling Memory Boost is as offensive as it is defensive. You do not want to play Blue Memory Boost in this deck. This card turns off blockers. This card makes it so your opponent can't attack on the following turn with something. And it's overall just insane. There were times that I was just like alternating playing Howling and Ice Walls, and I was just popping off the Howling after the turn after I'd play it, accumulate more bodies, and then drop another one. And then the turn after, I'd just pop it off, play more bodies, and then, like, double Ice Wall. And my opponent was never able to attack, and it was just kind of annoying. So, all the while, I'm just chipping away their security with this Veedrabond over here. And it was just a great time. So, yeah, that was the list. And that was me talking about my rounds bit. Hope you all enjoyed this kind of different style of deck profile, but it overall ended up being somewhat the same that you guys are used to. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe and all that jazz, and yeah, we'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everyone.